Please, don't bury her. She's still warm. The boy refused to let go, not even when they tried to pull him away. Please, he cried, don't bury her. The men looked at each other, annoyed. She's gone, kid, one of them said. We have to do this. The boy shook his head violently, tears streaming down his dusty face. No, he screamed. She's not gone. He held her tighter, small arms wrapped around her body, like if he let go, she would disappear forever. Look, he whispered desperately. She's still warm. Silence fell. The wind slowed. Even the men paused for a second. One of them sighed. Kid, bodies stay warm for a while, he muttered. But the boy didn't move, didn't listen. He pressed his face against her, crying harder now. She was talking to me, he said, just a little while ago. His voice broke. She told me to stay close. The men stepped forward again, trying to pull him away, but he fought back with everything he had. No, please, he begged, don't take her. And that's when heavy boots stopped in the dust. A cowboy, standing just a few steps away, watching, silent, still. His eyes moved from the boy to the woman lying on the ground, covered, too still, but something didn't feel right. The boy looked up at him, desperate, like he had no one else left. Please, he whispered, you have to tell them. The cowboy frowned slightly. Tell them what? The boy's voice trembled. That she's not dead. Silence. The wind picked up again. The cowboy stepped closer, slowly, carefully, and in that moment, everything was about to change. The cowboy stepped closer, slowly, carefully. The boy didn't move, didn't let go. He just watched, like everything depended on this moment. Please, he whispered again, just check. The men sighed. Cowboy, don't waste your time, one said. She's gone. But the cowboy didn't answer. He knelt down, his eyes fixed on the woman's face. Peaceful, still, too still. For a second, even he hesitated. Then he reached out, placed his fingers gently near her neck. Silence. The wind stopped. The boy held his breath. The men looked away, already knowing the answer. But then the cowboy froze. His fingers didn't move. His expression changed. Slightly, barely, but enough. Wait, he said quietly. The men frowned. What? The cowboy leaned closer, focused, then said, She's warm. The boy's eyes filled instantly. I told you, he cried. I told you. The men exchanged looks. Bodies stay warm. No, the cowboy cut in, his voice sharper now. Different. He moved his hand again, carefully, searching. Then, there it was, faint, weak, but real, a pulse. The cowboy pulled back slightly, shock in his eyes. She's alive. Silence exploded. What? One of the men shouted. The boy broke down crying. I knew it, he whispered. I knew she didn't leave me. The cowboy stood up quickly. Water, he said. Now. No one moved at first, too stunned. Then suddenly, everything changed. The same men who were about to bury her were now rushing to save her. The cowboy looked back at the boy. She's not gone, he said firmly, but we don't have much time. The boy nodded fast, tears still falling. But now, there was something else in his eyes. Hope, real hope, and far in the distance, a storm was beginning to rise. The woman's breathing was weak, barely there. The cowboy knelt beside her again. Easy, he said softly. You're safe now. The boy held her hand tightly. Mama, I'm here, he whispered. Her fingers moved slightly, just a little, but enough. The cowboy looked at the men. What happened to her? Silence. They didn't answer. The boy did. They came last night, he said. The cowboy turned. Who? The boy swallowed. The men from the North Road. The men nearby shifted uncomfortably, like they already knew. They were asking for money. The boy continued. But we didn't have any. His voice shook. So they took everything. The cowboy's jaw tightened. And her. The boy looked down, tears falling again. They pushed her, he whispered. She hit the ground and didn't wake up. Silence fell heavy. The cowboy stood slowly. His eyes dark now. Cold. Dangerous. You let that happen? He asked the men. One of them stepped forward. We didn't know what to do, he said. They were armed, dangerous. The cowboy didn't reply, because excuses didn't matter anymore. The boys suddenly spoke again. They said they'd come back. Everyone froze. For what? The cowboy asked. The boy's voice dropped. For me. The wind picked up, dust rising in the air. The cowboy's hand moved slowly to his gun. Then they picked the wrong town, he said, because this time someone was ready. The wind turned sharp. Dust rolled across the street. And then, hoofbeats. Fast. Heavy. Coming closer. The boy froze. They're here, he whispered. The men looked at each other. Fear returned. But this time, someone stood in front. The cowboy stepped forward. Slow. Calm. Ready. 3 riders entered town. Same men. Cold eyes. No mercy. They stopped, scanning everything. Then, their gaze landed on the boy. Well, one of them smirked. Looks like you didn't run. The boy stepped back slightly. The cowboy didn't. You're done here, he said. The riders laughed. You think you can stop us? Another said. The cowboy's voice stayed low. I know I can. Silence tightened. The leader tilted his head. Move, he said. We're taking the boy. The cowboy didn't move. Not even an inch. No, he said. Simple. Final. The rider's smile faded. His hand moved toward his gun. Big mistake. High voltage draw. Bang. The shot echoed. The rider's gun flew out of his hand. The other 2 froze instantly. The cowboy stood steady. Gun raised, eyes locked. Next one who tries, he said quietly, won't miss. The air snapped. The power shifted. For the first time, they weren't in control. But the leader smiled again, slowly, darkly. This ain't over, he said. And just like that, everything got worse. The leader didn't lower his gaze, even with a gun pointed at him. Instead, he laughed. You think this is about one boy, he said. The cowboy didn't respond. Look around, the man continued. This town survives because we allow it. Silence. The townspeople shifted, uncomfortable, because deep down, they knew they had stayed quiet. Too long. The boy stepped forward, tears still in his eyes. But you hurt my mother, he said. The man shrugged. She got in the way. The words hit hard, like a slap across the whole town. The cowboy's grip tightened. But before he could speak, a weak voice broke through the silence. He didn't get in the way. Everyone turned. The woman, she moved, slowly, barely, but alive. The boy ran to her. Mama. She looked at him. Weak smile. You stayed brave, she whispered. The cowboy stepped closer. You shouldn't talk, he said. But she shook her head, then looked at the men. They lie, she said softly. They don't control this town. Her voice trembled. You do. The word spread through the crowd, like fire. The people looked at each other, then at the riders. Then something changed. Fear started to break. The cowboy lowered his gun slightly, because now he wasn't alone. One man stepped forward, then another, then more, standing together. For the first time, the leader's smile faded. "This is a mistake," he warned. But no one stepped back. Not anymore. The street stood still. But something had changed. The people weren't afraid anymore. One stepped forward, then another, until the riders were no longer facing just one man. They were facing the whole town. The leader looked around, his confidence slipping. "You really think this changes anything?" he said. No one answered, because this time, they didn't need words. The cowboy stepped forward. "Slow, calm, drop your weapons," he said. For a moment, it looked like they wouldn't. Then, one gun hit the ground. Then another. And just like that, it was over. Later that evening, the town felt different. Lighter, alive. People moved, talked, helped each other, like they should have from the beginning. Near the edge of the street, the boy sat beside his mother. She was awake now, weak, but smiling. "You stayed with me," she said softly. The boy nodded. "I told them," he whispered. "You were still warm." Tears filled her eyes. She pulled him closer. "You saved me," she said. The cowboy stood nearby, watching, quiet. The boy looked up at him. "You saved us too." The cowboy gave a small nod. "Sometimes," he said, "people just need someone to stand first." The boy smiled, for the first time, without fear. Sometimes, all it takes to save a life is refusing to let go. Red Heart,